Welcome to What Would It Cost? Today I'm really fired up because I'm sitting down in front of Andrew Perrie here from the Reverland Realty team, and really pumped up for this because this gentleman's got so much going on underneath his portfolio and so many moving parts, and he stays really active. He's an awesome leader. He's got a big team, and I won't spoil it for you, but we'll move right into it, and this one's going to be a good one.
Let's go. The rates with the mafia are probably better with the Canadian government. Right?
Yeah, no doubt, eh? Especially them bumping it to 58% as of most recently. Crazy.
The mass exodus to the States has started.
Yeah.
Like, you thought COVID was bad? This whole climbing out of whatever hole we got ourselves in, that's going to be even bigger. Some of my high net worth people are just like, there is no chance I'm staying here.
Yeah.
Let's take advantage of the next boom, which I think is happening, in the next few weeks, if not months. And, let me take advantage of that. And then 3-5 years, get the hell out of here. Because if we were on this trajectory, where are we going to end up? In my opinion, it's like, hey, I'm not going anywhere. I love Canada. But you know what I mean? It's like, you gotta diversify. So that's what I was saying on my comment on your post there. Once Costa Rica closes and, we're all moved in, then I can, have that LLC there, make its money, keep it in the country, and then focus something on Florida. Everybody's talking about Florida.
Yeah. And talk to me a little bit more about Costa Rica there. That's awesome. One of the blue zones in the world, big conscious community there.
Yeah, you'd be surprised, like, how similar the Costa Rican government and the Canadian government, and how, like, the inner workings of it all works. Like, the LLC is the exact same to set up. You need the exact same requirements as like a numbered company here in Canada. So it's been interesting to walk through that whole process. You can actually, once you get your LLC started and you purchase that property, you become a temporary resident. So then after 2 years, you can apply to be a permanent resident, which is super cool, because we plan on, being there for 3 to 6 months out of the year. 6 months, I don't know if I could commit to that right now, but holy smokes. And then we can take advantage of the medical system and all that kind of stuff, right? So our project there is in a place called Riverland, just outside of Tamarindo. It's about 2 to 5 minutes car drive away, and it's 60 detached homes. There's a pool. There's a kids pool. There's a restaurant. There's a gym, a hot yoga, co-working space, 24/7 gated community, as well as a pool in your own house. Like, it's like all glass. You can open the glass up, and it's just a pool and an outdoor kitchen. It's amazing. It's the dream. As long as the build comes out the same as the rendering, then we're good. So I've actually I'm helping not helping the builder, but helping the sales team, get some more traction. Made a couple of sales for it. And it's like, I know these people. So it's like, and one person even bumped, I'm in phase 2. And one of the people from town where I live in Niagara-on-the-Lake was like asking me all about it. She just called me last night. She's super stoked. They purchased. And I'm like, what phase? Like 3? She's like, no, phase 1. I'm like, what? I'm like, so you're going to be moving in before I am? So I hope it all works out, because then, she'll be able to give me the rundown.
Nice.
Yeah, man. So Tamarindo's kind of like Niagara-on-the-Lake, small kind of town, one street that has like all your shops, restaurants. It's nice.
Very cool. And this is like a gated community that's going to have someone that is there, like, curating the experience, programming. Tell me a little bit more.
Yeah, exactly. So the owner, I don't know even how much I'm allowed to disclose based on his personal life, but the owner sold like a tech company. And so he's super smart in terms of software and all that stuff. So he's developing his own app similar to Airbnb, but for the Caribbean properties only. So he's going to have 3 different projects, and you could, buy in one or them all, and they're all kind of different levels. One is like their luxury, one is like more of a resort, and then one is what I've got. So if you rent out your home and they want to, go to the resort and rent a surfboard, rent a golf cart, you can actually, benefit from those types of purchases, as in forms of kickback or, commission, whatever you want to call it. Yeah.
Very cool. So Airbnb for just everything.
Yeah.
That you need for your vacation and for your 1-2 weeks away.
Exactly. Apparently, based on the comparables, like if anybody's interested, they'll walk you through a whole demo and how much you can make, and it's about 7 to 12K a month, on a 4,400 grand purchase.
Wow, have you ROI? Solid. So talk.
Yeah.
How about I want to hear a bit about the story. How does Andrew Perrie grow into this awesome high performing entrepreneur that he is today?
Yeah.
Very diverse, has just so many great leadership qualities. Tell me a bit about the story. I'm personally
Okay, good. I'm glad you're interested because my team, watches these podcasts that I do, and then it's interesting because I can just see them rolling their eyes, especially when you said leadership skills. They're probably like, oh, sure. No, I think the single best thing I ever did in my life and in my business was hire the right people. And it's have you ever read the book Who Not How?
No.
You should. It's great. It's about not how can I get to the next level, it's who can help me get there. And so what I realized, in my first year, I was kind of doing everything. I'm like, okay, I'm going to create my own Facebook ads. I'm going to do my own videos. I literally bought a Panasonic G7, did research, spent all the time on YouTube watching reviews and how to edit. And I taught myself a lot, but 4 months went by and I didn't do a single fucking deal. So it's like, what was that trade-off? It was nothing. And now I have hired a good production team. I've hired people to help run my Facebook ads, and one thing that I really learned quickly is that I don't like the paperwork side of it either. So I hired my admin. So to answer your question, like how did I get from point A to point B? And the fastest way that I can break it down for you is just putting people in the right positions. There's a lot of criticisms for people who jump into teams too quickly. And I could understand that because that's happened to me. I started my team and it folded within 3 months. So I understand why coaches say that. They say you should do 20, 30, 40 deals. I think that you should be starting a team when you feel the time is right. And I think the first person you should do, if you're not doing over 20 deals, you should get that licensed assistant. So somebody can take a little bit of your workload off your plate and do the transactions for you. Whereas if you're at the 30, 40, 50 plus, like just hire an admin right away because that person can focus on your system so that you can grow. So if you don't have systems, you can't grow.
Right. Yeah, and then there's that ceiling there that just doesn't, even if you try to grow a little bit past it, you start to lose on the quality of the service or, you're putting too many hours on the clock, you're becoming unbalanced, you get frustrated. There's that turmoil within the team.
Yeah, so, exactly. And there's ceilings, as a solo agent, as a small team, as a 100 deal a year team, as a 150 million sales volume team. It's just those ceilings are only, you're only able to break those with the right people. So that's why eventually my admin went to a director of operations. My, sales, my top performing sales agent went to a sales manager, went to a VP of sales, and now they basically run the team. And they have way more, let's just say they've got all the leadership skills that I don't have.
Right.
And that's why I put them in there, which I think makes me a good leader. So there you go.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Sales, networking, rubbing shoulders, shaking hands, doing a lot of that I see is something that you really enjoy to do. I see it coming out of the camera. I see it naturally, right? So with that being said, I was listening to a podcast that you were on and you were talking about when you were penetrating a market that you had no one there and you didn't have a network and it wasn't your own backyard. And I found it cool. And I'll let you tell them in regards to what your strategy was on how to pull people into that.
So, you're absolutely right. I grew up in a small town called Churchill, Ontario, which is Barrie, Ontario, for those who were looking for the biggest city closest. And I moved to Niagara Falls to open up an LA Fitness that I was the GM of. And, that's how I met Gabe. And that's how, my whole life started, was from that one moment. And, I had an opportunity to go back to where my database was, but, as we talked before we started rolling, Gabe's family owns a winery. So it's like, you want to go back to farm country and, who the hell knows where it is and, or stay where the wine is and, build my business there. And so that's kind of where we chose. And so what I realized quickly in my first 3 months was that I didn't have a database. I had nobody to reach out to. And aside from standing on a corner, and if I was about to lose my house, that's something I would have done, but I had to get creative and find a more streamlined approach. So basically what I did was that whole, spiel that I just told you about my first 3 months when I was behind the computer a lot, I taught myself how to graphic design. And not well, not well. But, realtors are, some of the, I want to say this correctly. I don't want to say the word lazy, but they want, answers fast. Let's call it efficient, right? So, as opposed to majority of the realtors trying to, find out for themselves how to do things, they do what I do. I just leverage it out and try to find somebody who can help them do it. So I taught myself graphic design, and I posted in a really big Facebook group for realtors. I said, hey, if anybody wants this, new cover art for your Facebook, I'll send me your headshot, send me your logo. I'll cut you out of the background, and I'll put you, in a scene that represents your town or what you sell. So I didn't know that everybody was gonna fucking love that idea, and I had like 500 emails. So it took me 3 days straight of doing this, and still I see some of these Facebook accounts still with my design as their Facebook cover photo. But so that's how my business started. I got 500 names and emails from people that were all over Ontario, in the States, and even as far as tell the stories, I got the furthest referral I've had is from Australia. So I started there by delivering that type of value that, other realtors didn't necessarily have, or maybe they didn't have a need to figure out. So I did that for them, built my database that way, and I made sure to sign off on every single email. Hey, I'm from Niagara. I'm from wine country. If you need anything, you let me know. And that just kind of sparked this, this brand idea in my mind where I had to choose something that, okay, so whenever somebody thinks of a certain word, how can they think of me? So I leveraged the fact that, Gabe's family has a winery. So every opportunity I was taking photos there, taking photos of me drinking, tasting the wine, sitting on top of the barrels, taking the tractor around. And then it just grew to a point where I was getting farm listings. I was getting, people moving out of town, out of Toronto into my town. And it was just one of those things where literally as soon as somebody put Niagara in a Facebook group, they would just see my name.
Nice.
So I knew that there was something there, and I had to, grow that part of my business. So I started marketing outside of my market to other, realtors that otherwise didn't want to drive. I said, hey, you want to drive 2 hours to Niagara on the Lake? Come on. Just pass me your clients. I'll take care of them. And now my business is over 90% agent referrals. We did 51 last year.
Wow. Right.
Yeah. So it's like,
check that out, eh?
Now you have to kind of level is like paying thousands of dollars a month in lead gen costs, then spending, thousands of hours a year calling all these people, or, taking your time out of your day to help other agents, help mortgage brokers, help anybody in the industry, answer random questions. You sit in the car with me for an hour, my phone will go off 3 to 5 times. I'll have a ding, text, Facebook, Instagram DM, and it's all, Andrew, who do you know? How do you know? What is this? What is that? What's the best program to use? And I'm happy to do it. It takes up a lot of time, but the fruits of that karma, value, whatever you want to call it, is it runs pretty deep.
That's awesome. Very, very cool.
Yeah, thanks, dude.
How is it being married to an Italian and a Calabrese? Let's talk about that. I don't know if you've been asked that question on a podcast. I'm trying to throw a curveball at you here.
So, all right. So, and Gabe, she tells me this every day. So, if you are a munja cake or a white person, and I'm like, okay, I gotta be careful because I'm like, have you looked in the mirror? Like, you're white too. And she almost walked out and just disowned me. Anyways, so it's 2 completely different cultures, and I grew up in like the whitest family. Like my mom works 3 jobs. She was a single mom until she met my stepdad, and like every day it was like white Wonder Bread with like cubes of cheese and ketchup and bologna. And you guys have mortadella. It's the same as bologna. Come on. Anyways, so it was those traditional values of a stay-at-home mom, as a family leader, Again, God bless my mom, and she tried her best, and I love her to death. It's just different. I was a single kid in what Italian family had one child, right? So that, and every Sunday we get together, and there's 10, 12, 20 of us every single Sunday. So, there's a lot of struggles with the way we communicate sometimes, because I think she's yelling and pissed off, and she's like, I'm just having a conversation. I'm like, you can't do this to me. Like, my blood, my skin, I'm just like, what do I throw? I'm like, how do I, she's like, you okay? And, growing up, I had a lot of self-conscious issues. Like, I always had to be, the front man of the band. Our band went far. I always had to be the guy in the spotlight. And it was more of a fuck you to the people that didn't think I'd make it,
right,
and didn't think I'd do well in life. And there's a lot of people. And, that caused, like, a lot of anxiety in my life. And it's more of, oh, fuck, I'm starting to get overwhelmed. And like, so Gabe will just look at me. She's like, what is wrong with you? I'm like, I don't know. Anxiety? Depression? She's like, even like her mom comes, depression. This guy over here is depressed. Like, they don't get it. And it's, because it's just, they have family, they have support, and, they have good, healthy diets. Let's just leave it at that, where it's like, now that I'm ingrained in that culture, I'm living a better lifestyle, I'm looking at things differently, and, other than the communication barrier sometimes, it's been pretty good.
And Gabriella?
Yeah, we call her Gabe. Gabriella.
Shout out, Gabe. You're this rock star's backbone.
Yeah. Oh, 100%.
Respect to all the wops out there.
There you go. She stays home and watches our three boys, and if I ever have a problem or I forget my lunch, it's in my office within half an hour.
Nice.
Yeah.
There you go.
Except I gotta remember to bring the Ziploc bags home.
Or the Tupperware.
The Tupperware for sure. That makes sense. But now I'm seeing her washing Ziploc bags.
Right on. Okay, funniest story in real estate. Funny story in real estate.
Lately, I just decided to do like a crazy real estate story.
Okay.
Like on our YouTube. So it comes out in a couple of weeks. And then I just had to audition for a real estate show. Other realtors, if you're listening to it, don't bother. I've already got the part. But it was like, what was like this crazy?
This is a band. Don't fuck around.
So, they wanted me to tell the real estate story.
Yeah.
Okay. Here's a story that I've never told on a podcast.
There we go.
And it's fucking.
We got some good stuff coming.
And it's crazy. And I'm only saying this because I'm hoping that, there's more Italian people watching this and can have my back if something happens. So I'm going to leave the names and locations out of this. Oh my God, this is so fucking embarrassing. So, all right. So I get a call. It's from this bigwig in Toronto. Okay, let me just set the stage. Young Andrew Perrie, he's a hustler. He just started the team. Things are taking off. His expenses are coming in. He needs to make these big deals happen. He needs to step up as a leader and drive to Toronto and meet these bigwigs. So this guy had a famous diner, a deli, let's just say that. And he's like, you know what? I'm selling it. I want to move to the country. I need your help selling our building and our restaurant. And I'm going to come in and buy a house. My GM, he's going to come. He wants to buy a house as well. Get to sell something in Toronto. And, based on their needs, these were like $2 to $3 million bungalows that they're looking to buy in Niagara.
Nice.
He's like, I want you to, come up to my favorite restaurant in any city. Let's just say that. And, I'm knocking on the door on the restaurant. I'm like, where the hell are these people? They come around the corner. They're like, no, it's in the back. So I come in, and this is like, the red and white checkered tablecloth, everything. There's a 300-pound guy with his arms crossed in the back corner. That wasn't the red flag. It wasn't a big enough red flag for me to say, okay, I'm getting the hell out of here. Right? So I walk in, and I'm bringing my brand new director of operations. She maybe have been here for a week. She's Italian, Andrea Lombardo, and she's like, no, something's not right. And I'm like, what do you mean? We're this just, a few old guys sitting around the table. So I walk in, there's 4 older gentlemen, and they're playing poker. And I'm like, hey guys, how are you, Andrew? Good to meet you. Yeah, Andrew, sit down, get this guy a coffee. So anyways, we're sitting chatting. The one guy gets up from playing poker and he walks to the washroom. And I'm like, okay. And he's just waiting around, and he's like, hey, why don't you play for him? I'm like, no. I'm like, no, I'm okay. I'm fine. He's like, listen, anything you lose, this guy's a millionaire. He can handle it. Don't worry. So I'm like, no, man, I really don't feel comfortable with this. Like, I'm just here to chat, get to know you guys a little bit better, sign a fucking listing and get the hell out of here. And he's like, no, I insist. So I come down, I sit down, I'm playing, I start winning. I start winning this guy 1,000, 2,000. I win this guy $5,000. He comes back from the washroom. He sits down. He's like, "Wow, Andrew, you're my golden horseshoe. Here's $3,000. Buy yourself in with it." So I'm like, "Oh my God, I just got off this winning streak." So I'm like, "All right, whatever, fine." Again, all this entire time I'm using
Your director of operations. She's still there.
She's like, what is going on? So, anyways, I start playing with this guy's money, and I'm winning. The pot's getting bigger every 4th round. They double up the pots. I'm like, holy shit! And it comes down to the last hand. It's me and another guy, neck and neck. I've got a flush. And I'm like, I'm folding. I'm like, I don't care. This is a great hand. And then it's like, let me take a look. One of the guys says, I'm like, that's all right. He's like, great hand. This is manipulation, like the whole thing. And I'm like, you know what? Fuck it. If I lose, whatever, it's all good. I'll make it up on the listing. I'll charge him a full 5%. I'll make that money. And because you got to understand, if I'm selling this business, buying these 2 houses, this is like over $125,000 in commission or more.
Yeah.
So I'm like, whatever.
How big's the pie? What do you got to shove?
So it was at least 10,000.
Okay.
So it's nothing too crazy, but fucking 2 years ago it was a lot of money.
Yeah.
So I'm like, fuck it. Boom. Put the cards down. Everybody's like, whoa, this guy. Yeah. And the other guy just straight out of a fucking movie puts his down and beats me by like 2 points. Like 1 card, right? And I'm like, well, that sucks, guys. Can we sign the listing paperwork now? And he's like, well, you know what, Andrew? Writes down on a sticky, pushes it to me. He's like, that's what you owe us. I'm like, what do you mean, owe you? He's like, yeah, that's what you owe us. I'm like, what do you mean? This is not my money. This is his money. He's like, no, this is what you owe us. And the guy at the back stands up. This guy's like, I'm like, what the fuck? I don't have anything. What are you talking about? He's like, all right, there's an RBC around the corner. I'll follow you. Get in the car. They fucking all follow me. And I gave them money. I gave them the money. And I said, buddy, can you at least write me like an invoice or something? Which I did. They didn't do, of course. But I was like, what the fuck? It took me like 3 days to realize what the fuck happened. It was a scam. Started in BC. And after I kept this not quiet, I called up a couple people on the drive home. Like, what the fuck just happened? I'm laughing about it.
Oh, because you didn't end up getting the listing signed.
No.
They just wanted you to shoot poker and go to
It was
the
a
bank.
fucking scam, dude. It was a scam. So
no way.
yeah, it was a scam. So
amazing.
So
How?
So the reason I knew it was a scam is immediately after, because I'm like, shit, I didn't get the listing and I just lost all this money. But it was mainly because 2 other realtors, it happened to like a couple of weeks. Somebody, a good friend of mine, posted in Real Estate Hacks in the group that I'm a moderator in, and I DM'd her. I'm like, I did that too. I'm like, how much did you lose? And that guy got took for like $12K. One of my good buddies, Steven Sayers, and he also got invited to this game. He's like, something fishy, and we ended up talking about it. I'm like, don't fucking go. So yeah, that's probably the worst story financially. that ever, happened to me in real estate, but I've got a few others. I've had one of my listings, I was struggling to sell this thing, and, it was a beautiful listing, and this guy basically comes in, gives us almost full price, and, books the septic inspection, books the cistern inspection, books everything. But we realized that the $100K deposit, this is a $2 million house, $100K deposit went into our bank account, right back out. What the hell's going on? Right back in again, right back out. We asked him a third time, I'm like, buddy, bring me the check to my office. Do not deliver it. None of this shenanigans. So I don't know why I'm getting Italian on you. It's just I'm amped up on that book story. So he brings me this check. It's from 2013, and this is like 2 years ago. And he's like, you could see he's like markered the numbers. I'm like, buddy, what are you doing? This is fraud. Like, you've markered the numbers in for the date. And these guys weren't trying to wash money. They were just nuts. Spent all this money on a home inspection for a house they couldn't afford.
Wow.
They didn't even have I don't know. Maybe they washed that $100K deposit, but it's all digital, so I don't know. So there's more, but
Wild.
that's another podcast.
So what's next for Perrie? Talk to us a little bit about what the future looks like, what you're looking to do, what the end goal is, and maybe a little game plan of attack on how you're going to get there.
Yeah, so I think for me here is I think big, and I'm always thinking about the next move. Same thing with you guys, right? It's I didn't get into real estate to personally sell 50, 100, 200 houses. I didn't get into real estate to get that top producer award, to service, like you always, what makes a good realtor? Oh, great customer service and this and that, which is all great, but that's not me. Like, I'm running a business here, and I need growth. We aren't transactional. We're very relationship based, but what's next is how do we foster that culture in other markets? So I don't want to grow my team too big because we've got a great core of people in this market, but I do want to have a massive team spread across international borders, everything. And, so I actually run an office in Niagara-on-the-Lake. I run an office in Muskoka. And, looking at my third office this year, picking that market is going to be, something that we're focusing on by the second quarter. But we're now expanding into cottage country. We've got a great reach there. We're working on a pilot. The podcast is starting to take off. So it's just what's next. And, I'm getting more speaking gigs in this first quarter than I've done almost in my entire career. So it's good to be able to fly out, build that culture, build those relationships in other markets. And, eventually just I want to have more franchise offices than Revel has corporate offices, which currently they have 23. So I love Revel. I love the family, a couple of Italians, right from Floral, Ontario, and they're just amazing people to work with. And, I just want to have my mark on the company like they've taught me.
Nice. That's awesome. Yeah, and shout out Nikki and Ryan.
Yeah.
What you guys got going on right there, like right now in regards to what that umbrella portfolio looks like and all the awesome people that are involved with it, you could feel that vibration that comes, at the buzz conferences or on the socials, or when, we're doing this with someone that's a part of the team, you could feel that family vibe.
Yeah. So no, thanks. They would really appreciate you hearing you say that, because, culture and family is so important to them.
Yeah.
And it's like, they give us the freedom. They're very, very smart. Like, everything you see is from one way or another connected from their brainchild, right?
Yeah.
But they give the ground people, the directors of franchising, director of recruitment like me, and other directors, the freedom to kind of, like, they trust you.
Yeah.
If you're in this culture, like, we could have 10,000 agents already if we really wanted to, but it's about attracting our tribe. So I sit down with all the new agents, majority of, the new offices, the head coaches, and if at the end of what I have to say, they're not feeling it, that's it. Because we really want people that can foster that same mindset. So because we've had it, we jumped into things quickly with maybe not the right people, and we've learned from it.
Right. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And one bad apple will ruin the bunch, right? So hand picking and selecting who's on that roster is.
Sometimes you never know until a year goes by, and some true colors kind of
right
present themselves.
hey, you know what? Naturally, that's going to happen when you guys are scaling at the rate that you're scaling, right?
Yeah.
You know, it's just it's doomed to happen. But then when it does, you address it and you move on. Right?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's
I
awesome.
just got to adjust shit like that every day. So.
Very cool. And
Yeah.
any in your retirement, any plans in getting involved in the winery? I seen you on
man.
the tractor there having a cold one, right? Going for a rip or no?
I would love that. I
Oh.
would love that. You know, it's a special place in my kids' hearts. You know, Gabe's heart, obviously, and you know, they're getting older too, so who knows what they want to do with it. But I wouldn't mind it. And I think in terms of retirement, you know, it's more about just leveraging off pieces of the business and getting the right people in those right positions, as I mentioned before, and so that I can focus on, you know, the growth aspects and continue traveling and meeting new people, doing podcasts like this too, right?
Yeah, very cool. Thank you very much for tuning in today for another episode of What Would It Cost? We had the pleasure of sitting down with this absolute rock star, Mr. Andrew Perrie from the Revel Realty team. And yeah, it was awesome. We had lots of fun. And Drew, tell them a little bit more about where they can find you.
Well, you know what? The best place to reach me at all times, no matter what, fastest response is to DM me at the Andrew Perrie. And if you're looking to, you know, get started on smashing your real estate goals, you can always reach out to notl@revelrealty.ca. We're always looking for good people.
Awesome. And don't forget to subscribe, like. That's how we keep this gravy train moving. So we'll see you next week.